Hi guys, Kooploop1802 here, and tonight I just want to talk about concealed carry, specifically talking to first-time concealed carriers, as well as people just getting into the shooting game for the first time. First, I just want to do a brief overview of some semi-automatic pistol actions. So right here we have double action only, here we have double action to single action, here we have striker fired. There are a couple other actions that I don't have demonstrated here. One is the single action only, such as your 1911s, and another one would be revolvers. Now, the double action only pistol has a consistent trigger pull. It's a long, slow trigger pull. Some of them are heavy. This one is not. This is not. Here, let me just demonstrate. It's clear. It's clear. So, for example, long trigger pull because it has to cock the hammer every time it fires. So the proper way to fire this gun is to stage the trigger. When you're ready to fire, sights are lined up with the target. Pull it the rest of the way, and it fires. Let it reset, and it fires. Okay. Now, the double action to single action pistol right here, the first trigger pull is very similar to this. Now, on this pistol it's much heavier, but then subsequent trigger pulls are very light. And in this pistol, which is a striker fired pistol, it's I don't know if you're familiar with Glocks, but the trigger pull is consistent. There's a slight take up, then you'll reach basically a wall, and upon reaching that wall you will, if it's dry firing, hear a click, and that's the striker falling, and obviously if it's loaded you'll hear a bang. Now, I highly recommend a striker fired pistol for beginners. Honestly, even the pros like them. You have like police officers carrying Glocks and M&Ps, and Navy SEALs carrying Glock 19s. I mean, they're just good guns. They make sense. Now, this particular gun is a Ruger SR9C. It has a couple extra things that I don't really care for. It has a thumb safety, which I think is a misnomer. In reality, it is a hammer or striker block, which it doesn't need because it has one of those right here on the trigger. The original purpose of a thumb safety was for a horse-mounted soldier carrying a single action firearm like a 1911 or such, if they dropped it, for it not to go off and kill them. Okay, like I said, modern guns, they have a firing pin block right here, so they don't need this. This is not a child safety lock. It will not save your child. This is purely to sell guns to people who are afraid of the guns they are carrying. Okay? Don't be afraid of it. It's not going to go off randomly. This must be pulled for it to go off. Okay? And the only way it's going to get pulled is if you're pulling the trigger. So you don't need this. This is just something that you can forget to take off and, you know, have somebody kill you while you're figuring out why your gun didn't go bang. Okay? It happens. I've seen it happen on the range where somebody is shooting at paper. The paper will not hurt them. Pull up the gun, aim, pull the trigger. They pull the trigger again, and they bring it up and they look and they're like, why isn't it going off? They're like, oh, click, and then they shoot. Okay? Yeah, that'll get you killed. So I don't like these. Neither should you. Don't rely on this. This will not save your life. Okay, and the other thing I don't like is this little loaded chamber indicator tab right here on the top. Okay, lots of guns don't have these because you don't need them. Okay, if you are ever in question whether your gun is loaded, take it, pull it back. If you see brass in there, it's loaded. If you don't, rack one in. But if you do, you're loaded. Okay, then reholster the weapon. Once it's reholstered, there is no need to check. Again, I promise you that round will not leave the chamber without you cycling the action. Alright, so now that we've covered these actions, like I said, I highly recommend striker fired. It's just the easiest to learn, and it's just a proven action. Now I carry this because I got a deal on it, and I do like it. Now there are some other guns out there that I have my eye on that I want more, but budgetary constraints said, hey, this is what you're going to get. And it's a good gun. I just prefer this action. Okay? Now, we'll talk about why all these three exist in my collection in a minute. But next, right now, I want to talk over calibers. Okay? In my opinion, the only caliber you should consider as a beginner is 9mm. Okay? For a couple reasons. Number one, it is really easy to shoot. Number two, it's really easy to find. And number three, it's really easy to afford. Okay? Those are the three considerations that you need to consider. Alright? Is 40 a good round? Yes, it is, but it costs more than 9mm. Alright? Is 45 a good round? Yes, but it costs more than 9mm. And I know some of you ballers out there making so much money, you're like, well, I don't care, I'll just buy whatever's the best. Well, that's all well and good, but I know for myself personally, if it's too expensive, I won't shoot. If it's a couple dollars more a box, I just find myself not shooting. I owned a 45, I owned a 40, and I didn't shoot them near as much as the 9mm because a couple dollars more a box, I tend to find myself gravitating back towards 9mm. Alright, so calibers. Now, materials and features, okay? Get a polymer gun, okay? There's so many good polymer guns out there. They're lighter for a gun that you are going to carry 99.99 repeating % of the time. Polymer is the way to go. Okay, this one has a steel frame. It's small. You kind of get away with that. But if you're carrying something with any size, this is the same size as a Glock 19. 15 round capacity. If this was aluminum or steel, I'm adding ounces that I don't need to add. And it may not sound like a big deal, but I can't tell you how many women have complained to me about guns even this size in their purse, how much heavier it makes it. Okay, well imagine a gun this size inside your pants. Okay, it's a big deal. Polymer's the way to go. So we've talked calibers, we've talked materials, we've talked actions, capacity. Okay, so I think the average gunfight that a civilian may encounter tends to be like 1 or 2 rounds. Okay, honestly, when it comes to capacity, the more the merrier. I've lately been carrying 15+1, so 16 rounds in this SIG, and I feel comfortable with that. I'm not carrying a spare magazine because I feel like I can handle anything I run into with that. When I carried this, I did carry a spare magazine in this Leatherman pouch, so there was 6+1 in here, so 7 plus an extra 6 in this magazine, so that was 13 rounds. So that's my comfort level. I know some people who carry revolvers, they may carry 6 or 5 in a cylinder, and then a speed loader with 5 or 6 in it, and that's 10 or 12 rounds. And that seems to be like the comfort level of most people. Some people go all Billy Badass, and they'll carry maybe like 17 because they'll have a +2 extension on their magazine, and then they'll carry 2 17 rounders on their belt, because they're expecting to get into a long drawn out gunfight with their little 9mm pistol or what have you. You know what? There's nothing wrong with that. I just don't choose to carry that much, and I don't think you as a beginner should feel the need to carry that much ammunition. I think if you equipped yourself with something like a Smith & Wesson Shield with 7 or 8 rounds and had a spare mag, you'd be just fine. Moving on to holsters, okay? So I have played the holster game. I've done the hybrid holsters, I've done kydex, I've done leather, and you know, I've just done it all. I've done ankle holster, I've done deep carry, and I've done shoulder holsters. And I have currently, and I say currently because, man, this whole concealed carry thing is such an evolving thing. You got to find out what works for you. But what works for me right now is this Remora holster. Okay, I think I got it for 18 bucks. Okay, so first of all, when you go holster shopping, you're gonna find holsters generally are not cheap. Okay, if you get something like custom kydex, for most people, okay, so I made this myself in my garage. Okay, and this cost me like 30 bucks to make. If you're buying a kydex holster generally from like a custom guy, you're going to pay $80, $100. If you're buying something bulk from like Blade Tech or something from Galco, you may pay like $40 or $50. Okay, so they can be pricey. Something like this cost me, this is a leather holster, this cost me $20. I got this off Amazon. Now, it sucks. Look how thick that is. Like, you don't think that's that bad, but man, you stick that in your pants and you really feel it. So, this is kind of what I've settled on. It's softer. I got the reinforced top, so it's easier to reholster. You'll notice this does nothing to attach it to a belt or anything. That's because it has like a friction surface on the outside and it just stays. It's kind of weird. I thought it was a gimmick when I first saw it, but it works. It's comfortable, and I'm carrying a full-size pistol in my pants, and it's comfortable and nobody can see it. So this is what I recommend. Now, like I said, I played the kydex game, made it. It works. I prefer this. This isn't bad, but I prefer this. This is kind of the industry standard. You know, this is what all the cool guys are doing. You know, I'm not cool. I do what's comfortable and I do what works. But if you want to be cool, you carry kydex and you carry appendix. And we'll talk about methods of carry in a minute, and you'll understand what appendix carry is. But I'm not cool. I just want to have the gun on me. I want to have it accessible, and I want to have it comfortable because I'm going to be carrying the thing. I'll be honest with you, I've never been in a defensive shooting, and I'm going to do my best not to be. But that just means that 99.9% repeating, I'm just going to be carrying the thing. So I need to be comfortable. All right, so we've talked about materials. Now let's talk about methods, okay? So I was talking about appendix carry. So appendix carry is whenever, if you're righty, it's basically going down the front of your pants like this. Maybe more towards the center, but mostly a little bit towards the right. And it's a quick access. You just lift your shirt, pull out, present. It's in front of you. You can maintain control of the weapon right here, okay? There are a lot of benefits to it. And thirdly, most people are not looking at your crotch, so it's easy to conceal. Okay? Now, I don't find it very comfortable. Some people swear by it. You know, I think it all has a lot to do with build. Some people are built to do that comfortably, and if that's you, I'd say go for it. You know, and I know lots of people are like, oh, I'm worried about an accidental discharge at my junk or at my femoral artery. Okay? Well, if I trust this gun not to go off, you know, pointed at my, I don't know, ankle or whatever, if it's on my side or if it's on my back hip, I trust it not to shoot my femoral artery or my junk, okay? These modern pistols are not going to go off unless you pull that trigger deliberately. So that's not a concern. It's mostly just comfort for me, okay? So you can carry appendix. I carry, so imagine your body being a clock, okay? So this is 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock. I generally carry in like the 4 o'clock position. It just seems to be most comfortable for me, and I can conceal it because it's just behind my hip, and that's where I tend to carry. Now, your situation may be different. I carried ankle for a long time in an ankle holster. I carried this gun, and it was comfortable. I was able to do a manual labor job with it, but as you can see, I had to carry a smaller gun, and it was not quick to get out. Okay, you'd have to bend down, pull up your pants leg, and grab it out, and you're putting yourself in a disadvantageous position doing that. Okay, so if you can, carry around your waist somewhere. And like I said, appendix is great if it's comfortable for you. If not, you're probably going to find yourself carrying as a right-hander in the 4 to 5 o'clock position, and if you're a lefty, in the 7 to 8 o'clock position. Okay. Finally, moving on to ammunition. All right, carry hollow points. Carry hollow points. This is not because they kill better or do more damage or anything like that. This is because this little hole acts like a parachute in the human body, and once you shoot someone, you don't want 2-year-old Sally Johnson down the street catching your bullet in the face, okay? Carry hollow points. And you don't have to spend a fortune. Yes, these are Remington Golden Sabers, okay? And in here, Spear Gold Dots. Yes, I know, fancy schmancy. This is before I realized that you don't have to spend $25 for 20 rounds for defensive ammo. You don't. Okay? I'm constantly learning too, and I'm just trying to share what I know with you. Alright? For proof of this concept, watch Paul Harrell's video on hyper ammunition. Okay? His Remington UMC or Winchester Train and Defend ammo, which is budget 9mm, is doing the same damage as a Gold Dot or a Golden Saber or a Federal HST. The only difference is when the bullet is recovered, they don't look pretty, okay? Those Gold Dots will look like a nice little budded flower when you recover them out of ballistics gel or meat or what have you, okay? Yeah, they're pretty, but it's not worth paying over $1 a round, or if you get them on sale, $1 a round for a 9mm projectile, okay? And yes, you can claim they're made to a higher standard, yada yada yada. I don't give a crap. Humans have not developed superpowers in the past 100 years, okay? And people have been getting killed for a long time with just a slab of lead blasted out of a tube by black powder, okay? Well, now we've advanced. Now we have copper-plated lead with smokeless powder, okay? But the human body is still not magic. They're still going to die if you put a hole in their nervous system, their blood pump, or if you destroy their way of getting oxygen, if you put enough holes in their lungs, okay? So really, this cavity right here, you just want it to act as a parachute in the human body. Yes, penetration is a factor. You want it to be able to get to those vital organs. But if they're attacking you, it's probably going to be a frontal type shot. You aren't going to get into a Miami-Dade shooting at 35 yards with a .38 special and hope it goes through arm bone and hitting the heart. That's just ridiculous circumstances, okay? If you're taking a shot to defend yourself, they got to be within danger close distances, and they're probably coming at you, all right? So penetration is not going to be as big of a factor as you think it is. So that being said, we've talked about pistols. You need to get a striker-fired gun. We've talked about materials. Make sure it's polymer. We did not talk about capacity. Actually, we did, briefly. But just to go over capacity again, I think you'll be perfectly fine with a 6, 7, 8 round gun with a reload, or a 12 to 17 round gun without a reload. Alright, we talked about calibers, 9mm, because you want something you're going to carry, you You want something you're actually going to shoot and practice and get good with, and you want something you can afford. Okay, and then holsters, somewhere around the waist if you can. If not, like I said, I've carried deep. I've carried with the ankle holster. I've carried with the shoulder holster, but I really do think around the waist is the way to go. Inside the pants, please. I know some of you cool guys will wear outside the waistband holsters, and I've done it, but you end up wearing like these jackets when you aren't comfortable, or long shirts, and inside the waistband is the way to go. And then last but not least, carry hollow points, and you don't have to carry the ultra expensive ones. You can get by with some middle of the road. You don't want hollow points that are going to disintegrate either. Do your research, but like I said, Remington UMCs or Winchester Train and Defends or something along those lines will suit you just fine. And that is all I have to share tonight. Coop Loop 1802 out.